Like most of my clients, John had never considered videotaping himself. It seemed a bit weird to him at first, but then, the more he thought about it, videotaping was not exactly new to him. His baseball coaches used videotaping frequently to help him improve his pitching. He had viewed many tapes of himself, critiquing his style and his mechanics. It made sense to him that this would help his mental game too. So he was willing to give it a try, and he was pleasantly surprised. At first he found himself critiquing his voice and his appearance, but that quickly went away as he began to focus on the message he was giving himself. Even though he knew it was him on the tape, it almost seemed as if it was someone else, giving him advice on how he should be thinking. Like everyone who has tried it, John found it to be very powerful. What follows is my reproduction of John's Cognitive Selfie. He offered to let me use his, but I declined in the interest of protecting his confidentiality. The probability of me getting no more batters out ever again is essentially zero. It's never happened, and it will never happen. I have a great pitch. I trust it 100%. I will get excited and pumped up, as all good athletes do before a game, but then I will settle in and play really well with all of that extra energy on board. The extra energy I get from playing in front of my coaches will help me to perform even better. I can and I will learn to harness this energy by putting my positive thoughts in charge. I simply need to practice these positive thoughts more than anything else. As soon as the game begins, my body will start to clear that initial bump of adrenaline, and then I will relax and ride that adrenaline to peak performance. When I'm pitching, I will only think about the spot that I want to land the ball, nothing else. I'll let my brain take care of the rest of the pitch, just as I've trained it to do. I will trust my throw. I will get out of the way and let my brain do its thing. I'm going to have a winning season because I'm going to harness my nervous system and throttle it back into the zone. I'm only going to think those thoughts that will keep me relaxed and focused. I get to decide which thoughts I want to think, and those thoughts will be the only ones allowed into my brain. Nobody wins every game, but I will win the majority of the games I play just as I always have. I've done it before, and I'll do it again. The chance of me losing every single game is simply non-existent. I'll play as hard as I can, and that's what makes a champion. Champions feel fear too, but fear doesn't get to dictate how they play because their confident thoughts cancel out the fearful ones. My confident thoughts will be louder than anything else in my brain. I will start strong, and I will finish strong. Of course, there will be walks throughout the game, but I'll move on from each mistake like a champion. After a mistake, that pitch is over. The only thing I will think about is how good I'm going to throw the next pitch. Everyone gets a bit more pumped up when others are watching and the game is for real. That's just part of wanting to do my best. Everyone feels it, bar none. I will use that extra energy to perform even better. I will feed off the adrenaline and use it to my advantage. I will enjoy my time on the mound and savor it like fine wine. This is what I have worked my entire baseball career for, and I'm going to enjoy the experience and stay in the moment. John was a very compliant individual and went to work diligently on infusing his anti-anxiety thoughts into his brain by watching his video prolifically. It wasn't too long before John had registered somewhere north of 250 viewings of his video, which worked out to about 10 times per day for the 25 days he had left before opening day of the season. I'm happy to report that John had an awesome first outing when he went out to pitch for the first time of the season. He admittedly felt a bit tense, of course, but within minutes of taking the mound, his anxiety gave way to an overwhelming positive stream of thoughts that began to flood into his brain. Afterward, John couldn't thank me enough for showing him the tools to win back his confident thought. So in conclusion, much has been written about how to overcome performance anxiety. What this series brings to the table is the most powerful psychological approach to anxiety ever invented: cognitive behavioral strategy. Specifically, this series spotlights cognitive audiovisual technique, which I refer to as mindfulness or meditation on steroids. I enjoy using meditation in my personal practice, but it takes a lot of effort and a lot of time to meditate properly. For anyone who has ever tried to meditate, you know it takes a high degree of focus, and our thoughts tend to stray wildly. It is relatively easy, on the other hand, to focus on 1 minute of video. I believe it is 10 times easier to focus on a 1 minute videotape than it is to focus on an hour of meditation. If 1 minute of video is truly equivalent to 150,000 words, then it's pretty safe to say that watching a 1 minute video requires at least 10 times the neurological activity of simply trying to think a thought for 1 minute. And as we've demonstrated in this series, creating neurological activity is the holy grail of changing thought. In my experience, 1 minute of watching video is the equivalent of at least 10 minutes of meditation, probably much, much higher. This means that 6 trips through a 1 minute video throughout the day yields the equivalent of an hour of meditation. Pretty impressive. I don't have an hour every day, but I sure have 6 minutes. Now, lastly, if there's any doubt, I invite you to walk through this series, create your own 1 minute selfie, watch it diligently, and see for yourself. See you on the confidence side.